Hello, Tiger family. I wanted to come and show you how to match content competencies to activities students may be completing in Tiger Time. If a student keeps failing an assessment or has a failing grade in your class and that does not show mastery, they can actually defend to you with evidence on how they are using the skill that they need in your class, and they're using that skill to complete a activity that they're passionate about in Tiger Time. And so we're going to use an example of a student at Locust Grove High School where she actually defended to her teachers on how she used analytic geometry in her event planning passion project. So she did a defense, and this is her project here. And her project was event planning, and she actually created a portfolio where she showed how she did all these things and used the competencies along with it. And so what she did was she pulled out all the competencies that went with analytic geometry. So she pulled out competency one, where the student uses mathematical practices to help her make sense of the real world. And she pulled out competencies one, two, four, six, and eight that actually she used in her event plan. So, for example, she pulled out competency one. She said, by implementing mathematics into my event planning passion project, I was able to construct and exhibit real life models through layouts and word problems. By creating a layout or a blueprint, I was able to show how geometry and algebra correlate to event planning. And so she goes through and she actually shows evidence of how she did her geographical or geometric layout of her event planning table, her tables, her food, where she angled everything. She pretty much showed all of that, if you can see here, and definitely showed the math. Okay. She goes through and she shows competency three, where she creates, interprets, uses, and analyzes patterns of algebraic structure to make sense of problems. And so she pretty much goes through and she shows an example of how she does that and explains how she used her event planning to do that and did some math problems here. So she shows pretty much all of these competencies in her evidence of work. So we're kind of just trying to take that same concept, but they do it completely different at Locust Grove than what we're planning on doing with Tiger Time. We want to go ahead and have our actual competencies laid out for the students before they get into the course. So then that way, if they do fail something in math, science, social studies, or English that pertains to what activities they do in Tiger Time, they can actually get credit in their core classes. So the best thing would be to go through and plan your activities first and then go back and see what type of things or skills or hands-on experiences are you providing for the student that correlates with some of these competencies in math, science, social studies, and English. And so once you do that, then you can actually practice or choose between three options to give the student credit. The first option is a replacement grade. This is probably the best option. If a student actually fails an assessment in a targeted area and it actually aligns to competencies that are in their Tiger Time course, you can actually give them a grade for their defense and put that grade in for their failing assessment. Option two would be just to fill in zeros. If a student hasn't demonstrated any knowledge in a specific area, they can do it with their Tiger Time defense and you can fill in that zero. The third option would be extra credit. So what you could do is add in an extra category to IC where you have Tiger Time extra credit. And then that extra credit can be calculated into the student's overall grade. So any one of these options would be great in actually giving the student credit for their Tiger Time class. But the best option, again, I'm going to say it, is the replacement grade. Replace that failing grade with a grade of mastery if they definitely demonstrated that they have the skill and they use that skill in something that they're actually passionate about. And that's pretty much it, guys.